last time on offline TV, Fed had delivered a killing blow to Iman's reputation. He came out hard-hitting with the screenshots. He showed us a world of Pokemon that none of us had ever seen before, confirming the deepest and darkest desires of a lot of the incels from the far reaches of the internet as they came together to tear down Pokemon's legacy. Now, we all watched Pokemon's response stream, and I'm not going to lie, it was pretty bad. It was not very impressive. She left out a lot of detail, didn't give us a lot of good responses. Not impressive. But now we have, after a less than stellar rebuttal, now we have a prepared, multi-page, sourced with text image response from ruthless businesswoman Pokimane. That's first, middle, and last name. Well, there's not much more to say to this. Let's see if this document is enough to bring it back. Destiny, can you explain how you think and shit info before that? Well, the last document seemed to show that Fed felt as though Poki had led him on quite a bit, which seemed to be the case, and also showed that Pokimane was probably the one pushing for Yvonne to get kicked out of offline TV, or at least from what we'd seen from Fed, and that Pokimane was being kind of possessive and a little bit unfair to Fed if they were truly supposed to be as romantically separated as she claims they were. Fed challenged that. Now we're going to see the prepared response. Here we go. Intro. I've talked about my experiences with Fed in the past and am really disappointed that leaked and misleading messages have made it necessary for me to respond once again. I feel forced to share my side of the story now with evidence and context to hopefully close this chapter once and for all. Ooh, it's like when Nier is at the end and he's like, now we stand before you with evidence. Knowing how much it hurts to have private convos leaked, I didn't want it to have to come to sharing more info that is also private to Fed and my friends involved. Out of respect to their privacy, I'll only be talking about some of the things that were already shared and what my friends are comfortable with. The leak. I found out about this document weeks ago because one of Fed's viewers DM'd one of the offline TV members with a link to it, technically a prior version to it. There was no update at the bottom / certain private texts were not in the document that I saw. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to be fully transparent. So I have been talking a little bit with Iman over the past couple of days because obviously this is all very interesting. So if there's like a little bit more context I can provide here without leaking any new information or whatever, I will. But yeah, okay. So I'll try to speak a little bit more. This part is very interesting. We'll get into this later, all right? When I read the original document, I don't know if you guys read this the same way or took the same takeaway. I was under the impression that Fed worked on the document and sent this document to Iman, and that they were kind of going over the document together. That was the impression that I had. I wasn't aware, maybe I just read it poorly, but I wasn't aware that there was like a random person that was like shipping off copies of this document to people in offline TV. I was not aware of that. That's pretty interesting to me. But I was horrified that a viewer of his had such private messages of mine, and I immediately contacted Fed. We spent a couple of days talking things through and coming to an understanding on how to handle things. I also informed him how the document was shared with me, so he was very well aware of the specific person who was doing this. Over the next few weeks, I would have my close friends and other streamers message me and tell me that they were also sent this document, sometimes from Fed, sometimes from Fed's viewer. Every time my privacy was further violated, I would tell Fed, and he would tell me he'd speak to his viewer and have the Google Docs deleted. It kept happening multiple times afterwards, making it hard for me to believe that he didn't want this to be shared. So it appears less as though that this was one person who was trying to leak the document, like intentionally, and more kind of makes it seem like maybe Fed wanted it to be leaked. Yvonne and offline TV. I'd like to, so I think this is kind of important because I think Fed came out publicly and made it sound afterwards like he regretted it leaking and he didn't want it to be leaked, but that seems to not be the case. That seems to not be the case. I mean, he could have said it to private. Well, there's a lot of things maybe could have. There's zero chance it got leaked without Fed wanting it. He can just delete the fucking thing and removing all sharing perms Destiny. Possibly, yeah. But Yvonne and offline TV. So these texts were really damning. So these were the texts from Pokey that basically made it sound like Fed was trying to keep her in some role and Pokey was trying to kick out Yvonne. And it seemed like a big reversal on what Pokey had said before. Because originally Pokey had claimed that Fed was the one that was shit-talking Yvonne and that Fed was the one that was trying to get her kicked out. But it seemed like based on the text that Fed had released, it made it seem like that wasn't the case. It made it seem like it was the exact opposite of how Pokey had originally presented it. So, Yvonne and offline TV. I said Fred, sorry, Fed. I watched too much YouTube in 2007. I'd like to give context to the messages he included of me talking to Yvonne, since the leaked document attempts to imply that I was plotting against her when this was not the case at all. I'm really disappointed that he would try to publicly pit us against each other, especially since he knows us personally and the reality of the situation, on top of what he's already put Yvonne through. This situation was also heavily impacted by the fact that Fed touched Yvonne inappropriately, which is something that offline TV members weren't aware of until later. Please keep this in mind when reading the screenshots involving other House members, because they didn't know and have done everything in their power to help Yvonne since they found out. Because I was so close to Fed, he would rant or vent to me about others a lot. Yvonne was a sore topic for him, where he would continuously complain about her. He would complain that he was taking on her workload and that she would deny his attempts to get her to do work at offline TV and stream instead. Looking back on this now, no one can blame Yvonne for wanting to avoid him, but no one knew what Fed did at the time. I've included an example of this below. From Fed. Goes into Yvonne's room. Yo, let's think of a prank/content ideas since Lily and Albie are out. Immediately gets into a game of League. Smiley face. Uh-oh. Pokey with the Kirby inward eye face. I leave and she says, hey, you're going to think of something, right? Yeah. Tell her what you think. All right, I'll do that. Wow, I was surprised. I asked her when her game was done. I asked her when her game was done if she could come upstairs and brainstorm offline TV stuff. She gave me this face, frown. I want to keep playing. I gave her a long stare and then just walked out. I don't know. Another message. Oh, from the same year. I'm out here whiteboarding shit. Frowny face. I'll join you when I get kicked. You should tell her it's kind of part of her job, though. You know I hate confrontation. It's fine, though. When you think about it, I don't realistically think she can contribute much, but it's nice to have a human around. Well, these texts back in May kind of make it sound like Fed wanted Yvonne kicked out. Uh-oh. These texts were from May 25th, 2019, whereas Fed had shared screenshots of things I parroted about Yvonne months later on October 5th, 2019. I was not the only person that Fed would vent to about Yvonne, although I repeatedly heard the same thing from him throughout these months. He would also go to the other House members to complain multiple times over, which ultimately led to the point of offline TV having a meeting to discuss everything. The below texts were after the meeting and showcased that this topic stemmed from Fed bringing up issues about Yvonne. More texts. LOL, I talked to Toast before the meeting, and we agreed that we should only bring up Yvonne's thing if we really considered a new third roommate, but I'm kind of glad. Oh, I didn't know. Plus, it kind of came up in an okay way, I think. You guys segmented into that. Maybe. Yeah, No, I'm actually glad. I was like, why isn't Fed bringing it up, LOL? Haha, yeah, it was probably better this way. To be honest, if it came from me, she would feel, I don't know, different because of our relationship, but all good. Cat's out of the bag. Makes sense, it did come up pretty organically. I was surprised Skara had so much to say. I think I talked about it with Skara the most out of everyone. Whoa, I had no clue. So now this makes it sound like... This kind of makes it sound like Fed was the one running around telling people that Yvonne maybe didn't have a place in offline TV. As you can see, there were also other members of offline TV. So this is kind of shitty because the text that Fed had shown before basically made it seem exclusively like he was protecting Yvonne and Pokey was like shitting on her relentlessly. Whereas now it kind of seems like maybe Fed was doing this for months. And maybe we needed maybe a little bit more context around the earlier conversations. Uh-oh. Oof, we're only on page 4. All right. As you can see, there were also other members of Offline TV that were speaking up on behalf of Fed, as it was genuinely because we were under the impression from Fed that there was a problem that needed fixing. At this point in time, no one else in the Offline TV house had the context that Fed had touched her inappropriately. There was also a different set of texts which show my concern for the lack of work being put into Offline TV during the beginning of quarantine. At this time, everyone in the house, including Fed, content lead, and Yvonne, house manager, was very focused on streaming, and I was worried Offline TV was being left in the back burner. To contextualize my concerns, Offline TV has a history of hiring core employees that later become content creators. Fed, Chris, Pekka, Edison, etc. Albert did too, I think. I'm pretty sure there have been others as well. I can't remember them off the top of my head. And I'm genuinely happy for the people who are inspired to create content and are successful. For the overall sake of the Offline TV company, there are very important roles that need dedication in order for the overall group to function and to be consistent. This is why I was worried the issue would repeat itself to the point Yvonne would no longer work with Offline TV. This sounds like a super bitchy thing to say. Marks and then Zell Josh. But, so... the problem that they're having here, and Zell and Josh is a good example. There are others too. I can't remember the time. There are tons of people. When you bring on people that need to work when you bring on people and they need to work in a specific role, it's kind of frustrating if all those people just go on and become streamers, because it's like, okay, fuck. Like every single time we hire a new person to fill this role, everybody just ends up becoming a streamer, and that's not what we're looking for right now. So. So Yvonne wasn't doing, hold on, I was reading chat. So Yvonne wasn't doing her job, and he talked to the other members about it, and, well, whether or not Yvonne was doing her job isn't really what we're discussing here. That's not really, because those claims go further on down the road that honest to God, I just don't even care to get into, because it's not really relevant here. The claim that we're looking at right now is originally Fed had posited the only reason Yvonne was trying to be kicked out was because Pokey was power tripping behind the scenes trying to get her kicked out. But it seems that that's not the case. Fed was also complaining, or Fed was actually the instigator in complaining about her to a lot of other people in the house. That's the, Destiny. So Pokey and Fed are both pointing fingers and can't acknowledge they both wanted Yvonne gone, and why does it matter now? I can't tell if you're asking this sincerely or if you're not understanding the words that can come out of my mouth. So I'm pretty sure that Fed has a more managerial, like behind-the-scenes role than Pokey. I don't know what Iman's responsibilities are in terms of like management of offline TV, but I imagine that Fed is going to be in a role much closer to Yvonne. I mean, as you can see from the earlier text, in terms of like brainstorming and doing stuff with her. So Fed is probably going to be the ultimate authority on how well Yvonne is doing her job. I imagine he's going to know more than anything. The problem isn't whether or not Yvonne is doing her job, or even if she's slacking or whatever. We don't know or care about that. The issue is that originally Fed had pointed to a tweet, or I'm sorry, Fed had tried to make the claim earlier that Pokey was trying to kick Yvonne out over and over and over again, but apparently it looks to be the other way. Destiny, if you're a good employer, you should want your employees to grow and evolve. You're just wrong. You just have no idea what you're talking about. Just when you hire somebody, you want them to excel in a certain role. You don't always want people leaving that role to go and do something else. It's just not true. Now, again, that's not particularly talking about Yvonne and all that shit. I don't know in terms of that. But I do know, I have personal experience that it's frustrating when you hire people and then they grow in a certain way that they eventually just like fuck off from whatever they're working on. And it's like, oh, okay, well, fuck. Like that's a very frustrating thing to deal with as I guess in a business thing. I disagree that Iman was not complicit in this particular discussion. Does Fed control hiring for offline TV? It's not whether or... Wait, hold on. I can't tell legitimately if you're fucking brain dead or not. I'm having to try to figure out both if this is a legitimate question or if you're just not understanding. Reading Twitch chat Omega lol. True! Okay, we're just going to keep reading. In Fed's document, yeah, okay. In Fed's document, he claims he told me what happened between them, but Fed also told Yvonne, and Yvonne shared this in her statement in Dr. K Talk, that he didn't remember what happened. I want to make it clear that I did not have full awareness of what Fed did to Yvonne during any of the text/incidents shown. It was briefly mentioned to me in late 2019, first by Yvonne, then by Fed, that there was an uncomfortable incident that happened between them, but no details were shared with me. I had no clue of the severity or extent of the situation till much later. I learned of the full situation when she publicly spoke to Dr. K and privately in a heartfelt talk with our girlfriends. So, Fed originally claimed that he had told Pokey everything in regards to the drama, or no, I shouldn't say drama, in regards to the event that had happened between him and Yvonne. But later on, Fed also said that, wait, what? Oh, sorry. Fed also said that he didn't remember any of the events that happened. So that's an inconsistency in Fed's story. And I guess Pokey is saying she didn't have the full details there. We can't really know whether or not one way or another, if she did or didn't, right? I guess Fed's story is a little inconsistent here, so it's harder to believe that his story is true, but because I think Fed actually told Yvonne too that he didn't remember what happened, right? I feel like I remember Yvonne saying that with her Dr. K talk. Didn't she say that somebody had like not molested her, but did something inappropriate, but they said that they were too drunk and they didn't remember any of it? I think he said that, right? So it is a little interesting that Fed told Yvonne that he didn't remember what he did because he was so drunk, but apparently he remembered everything and told Pokey. I guess it's possible he lied to Yvonne, but yeah, so... In my initial stream discussing Fed, I was extremely frustrated because I had just found out what fully happened to Yvonne, and to think back at the times he complained to me about her, and I blindly believed it, made me livid. The same complaints that almost caused her to be let go from offline TV. Even more so than that, I'm frustrated with myself for not speaking to Yvonne and understanding her earlier. Given the context that I have now of what Fed had done to her, of course, I would have never said those things or wanted her fired. Anyone in her position would have reacted the same way in an attempt to avoid someone who has touched them inappropriately. One thing that would help here a lot is if offline TV wants to manage itself, you need like a person at the head calling the shots. Doing this shit democratically doesn't work. If you really think Yvonne is not doing her job for whatever reason, it's nice to have one person to set hey, these are the goals, these are your expected things that you need to do, delivering your job expectations to get fired. I have no idea how they would figure this out in fucking group meetings. It seems like a nightmare. And then again, I'm not saying Yvonne was slacking off. I just don't know. I don't have the full context to that, but yeah, clearly this is going to be super difficult to negotiate democratically. Don't tell any socialists that. But since then, Yvonne and I have talked in private about what I've said and came to a relieving understanding that after an apology from my end. I regret the added stress that we put her through. I'm so sorry to both Yvonne and anyone who read my messages with Fed that may have questioned her work or her work ethic. I hired Yvonne to work back with me in 2018, knowing that she was smart, thoughtful, and an overall pleasure to work with. I then personally recommended her for an in-house position at Offline TV and was looking forward to working with her in person. She has grown into her role at Offline TV and as a content creator as well, and I'm really grateful for her and everything she's done for us. Destiny, doesn't it sound like Fed wanted her fired because he felt guilty and didn't want any consequences from it? Maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to say. That is definitely one way you could read into things, though. But, yeah. Or one way a lot of people might. But, okay. Page 5. Fed was my closest friend for a long time. During the Offline TV Taiwan trip in February of 2018, we became closer and considered pursuing a relationship. This is where a lot of the flirty texts shown in Fed's document come from. A couple months later, after he visited me in Canada and when we traveled back home together, I told him I didn't want to be more than friends, around May of 2018. Weeks later, Offline TV held a party where I expressed interest in meeting a specific person, later referred to as Steve. I don't remember, apparently everybody knows who this is, but I don't know the names of any of these fucking people. After the party, Steve confided in me that Fed told him that Fed and I currently had a thing and asked Steve not to tell anyone. This really upset me and felt like a massive breach of trust, especially since it happened after I told Fed that I only wanted to be friends. I confronted Fed about this immediately and he apologized. Also, prior to my stream where I spoke about Yvonne and Lily's situations with Fed, I messaged him to give him a heads up and he specifically asked me not to bring it up to the public. He also admitted to this mistake when speaking to my best friend Janet after the intervention. Oh, I think we've seen these before, haven't we? Or maybe she read these before. Thanks, I really appreciate that. Is there anything that you would really want me to leave out? I don't know if I can accommodate, but I also don't want to make things terribly difficult for you. I won't mention the blank blank or super personal details, mainly some lies and instances where people felt manipulated. You can find it in you to leave out telling whatever that you and we were a thing. It's something I would just not like mention, but I understand if not. Otherwise, I trust you, and I think doing what's best for Lily Yvonne's comfort is the right play. I'm sorry I can't leave that out because it's the best, easiest example I can give of lying, blah, blah, blah. And then this is to Janet. Hi, Fed. Yeah, a little bit. I think this is between Janet and Iman, I think. Hi, Fed. Yeah, a little bit. Don't know the details, just that there was an intervention. How are you doing? And he said, well, pretty bad. Got a minute to talk. I can give you all the details. So then we called, and he told me about what, he told me about what I thought was everything. I can't read normal people fucking texting. This shit would drive me fucking crazy. And he told me about what I thought was everything. He told me about him and the Steve situation with you. He said he lied a lot. He admitted to Janet that he lied to Steve. Oh, and then this was in June of the 2020, right? Okay. Sorry. This is why it's so difficult for me to believe him when he just now, years after the incident and months after it became public, attempts to deny it. Fed has been known to be a serial flirt. This was brought up several times in an intervention we held for Fed, where several girls in our close friend circle spoke on situations where he'd crossed boundaries or made them uncomfortable. The girls at the intervention were all okay with this info being shared. For a long time, we all thought his flirtatious tendencies were just an innocent and natural part of who he was. I admit and take responsibility for the times that I later reciprocated and the ways in which this could have complicated our friendship. I would also constantly hear of the ways in which he flirted with other girls and his ships, and often saw it on his stream as well, which made any reciprocations feel casual and insignificant. It may have been naive, but it was far from how he's attempting to portray me. So I think here the case that Iman tries to lay out is that basically, yeah, she was probably too flirty with him, and yeah, she probably should have curbed it. However, it's not like he was like hopelessly pining outside her door, you know, day in and day out, all alone. During this whole time, like, Fed has been streaming with a lot of girls. He's known as being flirty with a lot of girls. He's like going out on dates with girls and seeing girls and shit. So it doesn't seem like he's just like hopelessly waiting for, I guess, Pokey to wake up. I tried to be transparent about who I was seeing in a conscious effort to be open and not to lead him on, which I now realize struck Fed as hurtful. I understand it must be tough to move on from someone you live with, but I figured it was better that I was upfront and to hear it directly from me instead of hiding it, especially since I would frequently hear of and witness him flirting with and pursuing other girls, even my close friends. Okay, sorry, I was looking. There's another story here, but I don't think she shared it. Okay. Fed also had a habit of sleeping in the girls' beds, Lily's, Yvonne's, and mine. Offline TV viewers might remember this because it was something we all spoke of as an odd habit, and we thought the sleepovers were strange, but harmless and just for fun. We thought the sleepovers were strange, but harmless and just for fun. Fed clearly enjoyed the comfort and intimacy he could find in his friendships with many girls, and I was no exception. Unfortunately, he also had a habit of pushing that boundary, not only with me, but with the other girls as well, which was difficult for us to properly manage while considering the larger friendship circle and dynamic. Our friendship was complicated and confusing, and there were times we unintentionally hurt each other. Would it have been possible to cut things off completely? Fed was my closest friend at the time, my roommate, and my coworker/talent at Offline TV. Anytime I tried to reinforce that I just wanted to be friends, we were always in the same vicinity, and he would attempt to flirt and push that boundary again. There was massive pressure and encouragement for us to interact with each other on camera, streams, and vlogs. We'd also had several convos, both in real life and over text, pertaining to the complications of our friendship, as it wasn't a one-sided issue. Over time, I learned how to properly draw that boundary, and these issues slowly became less frequent. Fed included messages of hotel room discussions. Didn't Pokey invite him over for those weird sleepovers? Kind of. We're getting to that one next.
All right, well, hurry the fuck up.
Chill. Hey, go to sleep, old man. Isn't your back hurting still? Okay. Our friendship was complicated and confusing, and there were times we unintentionally hurt each other. Would it have been possible to cut things out? We read this one. I learned how to draw the boundary. These issues slowly became less over time. Okay. Fed included messages of hotel room discussions that were misleading and taken out of context. To clarify, a few of us wound up in Vegas at the same time around December 6th, 2018. I was there for a sponsored event with Lily, while Fed and some other friends were there separately for fun. I messaged him and told him that we, plural as in myself and the girls, had a hotel room. I wanted for us to all stay together in his much larger room for fun, unless he wanted to stay alone so we could be at liberty to bring any girl home with him. So all four of us, me, Lily, Fed, and Yvonne, stayed together in Fed's room for the entirety of the Vegas trip. So this part reads a lot differently to me. I don't know if anybody has a link to the original doc, but when Fed talked about that hotel room thing, I assumed that Pokey and him had stayed alone in that room. I thought that she'd invited herself over to his room and that they'd stayed alone together. That's what that was my understanding of that. I didn't know that all four of them all stayed in the same room. I didn't know that. So that shades that a whole lot differently now. That makes that whole interaction look a lot differently now. But to reiterate, Fed and I never stayed alone. There's photo plus video proof of this, and this interaction was not intended to be romantic or suggestive, nor did anything happen between us. If anything, I feel it shows that I was encouraging him to see other people and wanted to make sure I gave him enough space to comfortably do so, referencing the text where I say, but also I can stay in mine because, you know. Okay, so we've gotten the Fed reading of things. Now we can see on the other side, I guess, the Pokey reading of things. Okay, so we got a hotel, but I can still stay in yours, but also I can stay in mine because, you know, if you don't respond, then I'm going to go to mine. Are you sure? I really want to, mine. Are you sure? I really want to give you the freedom to do what you want. Smiley faces. It's no worries. We have 2 beds in the other room. Yes. Beg for me to stay with you. This is a joke. I joke. Okay, I'll come if you're sure. Yes, I'm sure. Okay, say it again. Yes, please stay with me. So when I read this initially, it looks like Pokey's like fucking with him. Like fucking with his head. Like, do you want me to come stay with you? Like, do you want to? Come on. That's what it looks like. She's fucking with him. But now I guess like with all the greater context, reading it from Pokey's point of view, it kind of looks like she's saying like, hey, well, listen, if you want to fuck any girls, like, don't let me get in the way or whatever. Because they have a history going back and forth now of like, or at least she's encouraging him to see like other girls and stuff. And then when she's coming over to hang out with him, it's all of them going. It's all the girls going. This isn't just Pokey going to sleep with him alone. Which is, did he for real edit texts in his document? No, he didn't edit any of the texts, but we're only getting like the tail end of some of these conversations. So we're not seeing like the greater context around it. That first line says, I can still stay with you, not we. It does, but it's all 4 of them are going. That's what this conversation is about. And then this is the video, or I don't know how many stories or whatever they posted around this time, but in drama cases like these, do you think it should be all logs or nothing? Yeah, I think you should just be posting logs. That's what I would do. But obviously she's different than me, and I understand she doesn't like her personal life like talked about a ton. My policy is that if you try to fuck with me, I will fucking leak everything because I don't give a fuck. All right? Because I don't think I generally, not in the past like 5 years, I don't think I do very much like super wrong or fucked up shit. So if you're gonna start like leaking shit of me to make something look wrong, I'll just leak everything. I don't give a fuck at that point. Like fuck it, because I don't give a fuck. All right, Fed wasn't in the group shot, but Yvonne and Lily can also confirm that we all collectively stayed together in his hotel room for this trip. Do you think that Fed believed his interpretation of these messages, or was he just trying to paint Pokey in a certain way? Well, up to this point, I think some of the reframing has been really bad from Fed's part, especially the stuff about Yvonne. I don't think the stuff about Yvonne can be read a second way. Also, I feel more and more knowing more backstory to this, that I've gotten from people other than Pokey, I'm pretty sure this document was leaked intentionally. That's my feeling about it. And I feel very strongly about that, which makes all of this look a lot different too. But we're not done yet, okay? We're not done yet. Fed wasn't in the group shot, but Yvonne and Lily can also confirm we collectively stayed, okay. It's extremely frustrating to see so many private and old incidents misrepresented intentionally favor him. It's also difficult to properly show my perspective without further invading Fed's privacy or other girls' privacy. I hope that anyone reading this can try to be understanding of that. She's stupid. She should just be leaking everything, in my opinion. But different people, different strokes for different folks, okay? In summary, I hear a lot of hurt feelings in Fed's statement when it comes to our friendship. I cared about Fed a lot and wouldn't have wanted to hurt him. His feelings are valid and a good reminder of, to me, that what one person thinks may be going on in a friendship doesn't always match up with the other person's expectations. Looking back, I would have done a lot of things differently and know for a fact that neither of us handled the situation perfectly. However, our private convos heavily lack context, and I'm not okay with how they're being misrepresented. The Jody texts. So the Jody texts are really bad because in these texts, basically, Fed is like trying to talk to another girl and Pokey is like isolating him from the other girl. Pokey is literally saying like, oh my God, like I turn on her stream, she's talking about you. That's so fucking cringe, right? This text looks really bad on Iman's part, in my opinion, from the first reading of it. It makes it look like she's like literally like being possessive of him after telling him that like, oh, like we're just friends or whatever, which is obviously like really fucked up. But let's see if we can get greater context surrounding this. Spoiler alert, we will. The way Fed framed my conversation with him regarding Jody is extremely one-sided. This is something that Jody and I have talked about privately weeks ago, where I've owned up to it and apologized for the messages. Looking back at these texts, I'm ashamed that I wrote them and I feel terrible about the things I've said. The two pieces of context I'd like to provide are that, one, earlier that day, I was under the impression that that they were going on a date and was being supportive, and two, the things I said about Jody are essentially me parroting Fed's opinion of her, which he also shared with me earlier that day. They were also a result of my perception of her being skewed and negative because of the info he gave me about how he felt exploited by her and my poor choice to believe a rumor. Below, I've included the conversation I had with Fed prior to what I said about Jody for more context. Please note some of the text and names have been removed because I'm boring and I don't want to leak. Okay, all right. Here we go. Also, let me know how your date with Jody goes. Triple winky face. Geez, this year's been unreal for you. Haha, not going on any date with her, lol. Oh, stop. You'd be down if she was in town. Just let me know how it goes. I like the stories. Okay, sure, we'll let you know. I like the honesty. No, but for real, I'm not remotely interested in her. In all honesty, me, Leslie, and Yvonne talked about this. I feel hella exploited. And when we all hang out in, like, let's say Minecraft, she ignores Leslie and all the girls. Big yikes. Question mark, question mark, question mark. That doesn't sound normal. Isn't she really close with Leslie? You can really tell she's trying to push the Fody thing. And according to Leslie, not no more, lots of bad drama. What? So, like, what kind of drama? And then dramatic story that she excluded. Aw, maybe she's just not the most considerate person. But also, you saying shit like, let's talk about going on a date, if that's not really how you feel, is a little bit hypocritical because, of course, that pushes the Fody thing. Then with the Minecraft stuff, Leslie refuses to play with her now. We all think trying to push the Fody thing is for views. And it's so obvious when we're all hanging out and she's memeing funny face, and everyone else feels hella left out. But if you don't mind, then yeah, okay. But I guess long-term it'll show that they aren't friends anymore. Wow, my brain, boom. It's pretty bad. Had a group call with blah, blah, blah about it all. Must protect my friend's feelings. I think I'm forgetting other stuff she did too. What time is your thing today, by the way? Ugh. He told me much more, but I feel there's no use sharing more text past drama, and I want to avoid doing so out of privacy and restrict my friends. The conversation ended with me being very surprised, last text shown, and my perspective of Jody being very skewed and negative out of concern for Fed, saying he felt exploited. Furthermore, as the morning texts show, I was trying to be supportive and foster a friendship where we could be more open with each other and able to talk about the people we're seeing. Later that same day, I heard Jody speaking about Fed on her stream, and having heard all these negative things about her from him, I had a very skewed perception of everything she had said. Here is his reply that he intentionally left out from the screenshot, showcasing this was not a one-sided exchange and that he was encouraging it. I don't know. I can't stand people obviously acting more drunk than they are, saying fake pity shit to chat. Makes me gag. Anyways, that's my event of the day. Love you. Have a good stream. Sorry for spam while you're streaming lols. I legit tuned in for not even 3 minutes and she spoke about you twice. I was like, gotta go by. Haha, please continue. I love it. That's going to be a level 12 yikes from me, fam.
It's like basically editing a fucking screenshot, leaving that shit out. Why would you do that?
I wonder if he thought, because she's so private, I wonder if he thought she would never,
that she would have never leak this. Yeah, that's
maybe?
what I'm thinking.
Because,
or
like,
he has nothing to lose.
Stuff like this is this is really dumb. This reminds me of, like, the people that I debate on YouTube that will just say things that are just blatantly wrong. And I'm like, dude, are you not worried at all about just being wrong?
I mean, well, he might not care. He might just know that she hates this kind of stuff and that it hurts her and that it puts her through a lot of stress. So he's just doing it to be vindictive. I
never make those jumps in terms of assuming like somebody. I think that most people function like selfishly. I don't think it's like a super crazy, but man, I don't know. Okay, hold on.
I'm going to go that I would say that Fed probably had the assumption like Steve did that she was going to respond to all this. Like, listen, I'm not getting into this. Let's moving on. And probably got very upset that wasn't the case.
Maybe, I don't know. Okay. Proof these messages happened on the same day. Oh, this is just proof that the, yeah, okay. This is a very familiar pattern for Fed that I and many other friends spoke about. It's something I specifically called him out for in my first stream and directly to him at the intervention. He would spread down in rumors, egging people on to think negatively of each other and dividing people up. I don't know if this was intentional, but it kept others apart and Fed as their main confidant.
Come to our house.
Oh, this is, I don't know if I care about this. I probably believe this. I hope the screenshots and added context shows how disingenuous it was of Fed to attempt to frame this conversation as me being possessive of him. Regardless, I really regret having spoken of Jody in this way, and I'm so happy that we were able to work through it. It also taught me a valuable lesson in not only who to trust, but in taking opinions with a grain of salt. Get some backstory. There's a bit of drama during the first initial Minecraft server that I'm now learning the entirety of because of the doc leak, which actually cleared some things up for me as well. Do we want to do this? Oh, fuck it. Okay. So this was Jody, the J in question, the J girl, okay? Good luck. Which actually clears some things up for me as well. The drama stemmed from a ship being formed between me and Fed, Fody, and how shipping inevitably excludes people. I just want to go on the record, okay? And fuck all of offline TV because you all play into this hardcore TV. The shipping shit is fucking cringe, okay? All of you, Lily, that includes you too, every single one of you guys, and every fucking person, and all of you guys, shipping is cringe, okay? Stop doing it. All it does is it makes everybody fucking hate each other. Fuck. Okay, anyway. Story aside.
True.
I wasn't aware at the time of how shipping in general had created past drama in this friend group and thought nothing of it as Fed and I began creating Fody content. From a lot of the girls' point of view, I was probably being selfish, inconsiderate, and clout climby. To give my perspective, I was a newer streamer who had just started gaining traction and didn't really understand streamer etiquette. Nonetheless, I still fucked up, but I remember reaching out to Fed because I started to feel uneasy about Fody content. The convo went something like this. I said, "Hi, Fed. How do you feel about Fody?" Fed replied and said something along the lines of, "Oh, it's just content, whatever." We don't have a record of this conversation, but this sounds like Fed's answer to everything. I specifically remember the Jade conversation. That was so fucking painful to watch on stream. Holy shit. This convo was so long ago that I don't remember exactly what I said, and I deleted our Twitter DMs when Ray's Twitter got hacked. I went through most of my DMs and deleted the ones with addresses, phone numbers, etc. But I 100% know we had this conversation where I wanted to make sure that he was comfortable and that everything was okay, and he never said otherwise. I remember looking to Fed during this situation because I wasn't comfortable reaching out to any of the other streamers in this circle of friends, and Fed was the one that initially reached out to me. I didn't reach out to others because I didn't want to come off as clout climbing, and so I would never message anyone and ask them to play games or how they were doing. In hindsight, I know better now and completely understand how my actions were perceived the way that they were. But it didn't help my situation when I looked to Fed for guidance and he answered so nonchalantly while knowing how Fody made others feel. So you can imagine my surprise when I see the text exchange between Iman and Fed where Fed is talking poorly about my character, saying he feels exploited for views. Fed was the one guy who would constantly reach out to me who I felt comfortable doing the same with. He would call me all the time on stream and we would play games together, and ironically, he was the one reassuring me about the Fody/Minecraft drama situation. I remember we met at Starbucks once I moved to California and I told him how much guilt I still felt and how it's hard to approach the others because I don't want them to think I'm using them. His response was, "Jody, you're not an unlikable person. Just be around more and they'll get to know you." Referring back to the screenshotted texts, Fed talks about how he tried to come up with a neutral response to me asking him on a date, a prompt made by my community for marbles. This is where he states I exploited him for views. Now, reading back on these texts, I know wholeheartedly that Fed was just lying because 1, Fed was a well-known popular streamer and I was a nobody. He could have just cut me out and no one would blink twice. And 2, it doesn't make sense for Fed to be constantly messaging me, playing games with me, or calling me on stream and inviting me to events/parties if he had felt like I was exploiting him for views. Okay, so let's talk about the texts where Iman is telling Fed about me and my behavior from one of my drinking streams. At this point, Iman has not met me yet. She only knows me from what Fed has been telling her. While reading these words really did hurt my feelings, Iman and I had resolved all issues prior to the doc leak as she approached me months ago to talk. In our conversation, Iman was very honest and apologetic. I can understand why she viewed me this way in the past given Fed's portrayal of me to her. I hadn't spoken up about the Fed situation before because I didn't think he had personally done anything to me, but I still went to the intervention to support the others. Now, I know that Fed was part of the reason why issues had taken so long to be resolved. So resolved why I continue to be portrayed differently to others than I intended. Thanks for coming to my Fed talk, Jody. Conclusion. Ultimately, my complicated and volatile friendship with Fed had no part in why he was kicked out of offline TV, and such private details never needed to be public. It has been extremely jarring to have my privacy violated by someone I trusted for so long. Out of respect to my friends who are mentioned in these convos, they were all shown the texts and were of course given the option to decline any convos from being included. If any parts of the convos were blocked, I have done so to maintain privacy for them and will not disclose that info. I hope this context shows my side of the story and helps put this to rest. Note, this is posted to my alt account because so much personal info has already been shared. I would like to clarify my side of the story and not bring additional attention to these past issues. I know many other people will probably cover what has happened, but I'll be doing what I can to prevent personal matters from going public again. I feel like it would have been way stronger for her to lead with this rather than doing her fucking response stream where she just laughed everything off and didn't show anything. So the total timeline is sometime 5 months ago, I don't remember, 4 months ago, it comes out, Fed is a bit of a creeper, is manipulating people behind the scenes. People come out, big stink is made about him. He is expelled from the scene, and he is the classic bad guy. But then, a week ago, not even actually, I guess it's like 3 days ago, there is a big leak of a Fed document. In a surprising 180, a surprising turnaround, Fed basically says, most of these things about me and Pokey have been fabricated. She's actually the master manipulative queen bitch, and I'm going to reveal it all. But now we have a counter document, and it seems like all the original claims were probably truer than we originally thought, based on some of the creative liberties taken in screenshotting some of these text messages.
What about the counter document, though?
The counter document. Well, so one of the problems here is issues of credibility. I personally think that credibility is something that once lost can maybe never be gotten back. But like, if you are going to get it back, it's going to take a lot of time or really big changes. Pokey's credibility was hurt for a bit because Fed's document was released and it called into question a lot of her original claims. But now that we've seen this, it seems like most of her original claims were pretty true. Probably the worst thing that Pokey has committed, I would say, is saying that she'd never had a romantic relationship with Fed when it looked like in early March they'd at least considered it. That was probably true. But past that, it seems like the problem is that Fed said things that were just like blatantly not true.
So like Fed has more ammunition than what he has right here that he was holding back, like serious shit, like fucking secrets that he's been told, like, you know.
I will say very confidently, 1,000,000% confidently, that Pokey has way more ammunition than Fed, because there's a lot of stuff that maybe didn't make it to this.
The Fed's fucked now.
Yeah.
The Fed's fucked. Maybe he just fucking drops it, says, fuck it, we're going to war.
The problem you have to consider is that Fed worked on this document for like 2 months, right?
And if she only had 2 days.
Yeah, so you know that if he has 2 months to work on something, he's dropping at least some of the best shit. He's not putting weak shit in a 2-month project, right?
Well, I think he's probably trying to find a mix of like how tough he can go.
No. Come on, Dan.
Still trying to get that lukewarm.
If we were talking about giving a presentation, you might lead with your second best thing and end with your best thing, but you're not going to just like lead with a whole bunch of shit, right? There's no way that Fed has like 12 nuclear bombs that he just like is holding back on and decided not to share.
I'm not saying that it's stuff that exonerates him, okay? But I'm saying that the document that he leaked, that I think we both think that he leaked, which I called last time, by the way, that was countered enough to the point where you thought maybe Pokey would just do a wishy-washy response and not even get into it. So it was enough to kind of redeem him, but hopefully not so crazy that Pokey would actually do this type of response. You thought, by the way, this response was never going to fucking happen.
Well, but it had to because it had to because she made the first bad response. So now she opened the can of worms. All right, she should have just said, "I don't want to talk about my personal life," and fucked off. I think. But regardless,
there was a chance there.
There's no way Fed.
If I was Fed, I would go nuclear.
There's nothing to go.
Fucked.
But there's
Fed's
nothing.
Dead.
Yeah, but there's nothing to go
He's
nuclear.
Got some shit.
What could he possibly have?
He probably has all sorts of shenanigans, and it's time to fucking drop them now. Why not? Fucking take them all down with you. They took you down, dog.
They took him down on his lies. If he's lying about shit, if you started lying about shit, like now any claim that he makes is going to need extraordinary evidence, right?
I think he is. I don't think this is the last we've heard of Fed. I think he's about to fucking go nuclear. That's
The
what I would
problem is
expect
that
to have
like
happen.
your misunderstanding of this is like the problem is that we're arguing about events that have already occurred. He can't make anything else happen at this point. If there was anything that had occurred that like he could use, we would have seen it in the first 2-month fucking prepared
Well,
document.
I think that would have only applied to stuff that was relevant to him. Like, what could he really put in that document? He could talk about the Jody, he could talk about Yvonne, and he could talk about like those situations. Like, who knows what crazy shit has gone on at OTV that they've all kind of swept under the rug.
All right,
because, you
I
know,
got
it
an
doesn't
idea
look
then.
good.
Okay, remember on our first bet, I bet that Pokey wouldn't go into detail on anything, and she did. She shouldn't have, but she did. Now let's double or nothing on whether or not there will be a Fed response. I'll double or nothing, Dan, if you're confident.
Yeah. Okay. What odds? 1-1.
Double or nothing. 1-1. He's not responding. We're already in it now, Dan. I'm not giving you outs on this one, okay?
No. I'm down. Yes. As a winner of the last bet, I
A
will
Fed
accept
wait.
this one.
A Fed
He's gonna
response
drop it all.
document, not like a fucking tweet, okay?
I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get a document, but there's some. This is not the end of Fed. Fed, not a bitch. He's not going out like a bitch. He's going out fucking swinging. He's taking them all down with
Dan,
him. And I guarantee
Dan,
he's got some fucking
you haven't been
juice.
watching the last act. He already went down swinging. He swung, and now he's down.
No, he's still alive.
He's
still alive.
It's
He's
over.
Mike Tyson at the fights.
It's
No,
over.
he got his second wind.
That was his
is
second
just dropping
win.
now.
His
He's up
first
and
win was
swinging.
leaving the scene. This was his second win. This was him coming back, and now we close the book. Counted to 10.
Okay, give me this.
What?
Would you concur that he definitely has a ton of damaging shit about probably about Pokimane and about other people at this point? That wasn't related to this that he hasn't dropped. Would you agree with that?
Potentially, but
I think so.
I am
as well.
very, very, very confident that Iman has stuff that Fed would never, ever, ever, ever want leaked, ever. And I don't think that he wants to pull those
probably.
triggers. So that's where.
Yeah, but who's going to have the last? The question is, who has the spicier shit? You know, you don't know.
It's not a matter of who has the spicier shit. It's a matter of like, why would keep in mind too that these people are also real living emotional beings. So every time they engage in stuff like this, it's like when Kenshin uses that fucking attack that like takes some of his fucking life or whatever. Like he couldn't use it again after season 2 because it took so much of his fucking life to do it, right? These people hurt when they do shit like this. They can't just infinitely be involved in this drama over and over and over again, all right? It's painful, all right?
Yeah.
Can we ask a few
I-
analytical questions about the actual document we've seen so far, not speculation?
Sure. What?
I might have missed it already. Did she provide proof of her context of the hotel conversation, or are we just going off her word in the document?
I mean, she literally shows like pictures and says that the other two, unless you think she has all these. So, okay, so let's think
Of
of the
them hanging
possible-
out in the room together?
Yeah,
That
this
happens
is
all
the
time.
room. So
Yeah, people. Yeah, when you're on these trips, people hang out with each other all the time. Like that picture happens, even if you're not sharing a room, even if you're staying in different hotels. That picture happens.
So here's what could be happening. So the story that you're giving is maybe they just took a picture of the room, but Iman and Fed actually slept together in that room alone. And she's like, and Iman is trying to mislead people, right?
Yes.
In order for that story to work, she also needs to get Yvonne and Lily to lie with her as well. Yes.
Now, have they said anything? Otherwise, she just needs to get them to not say anything.
Okay, but she literally puts in the bottom here that Yvonne and Lily also confirm that we all collectively stayed together in the hotel. And apparently, supposedly, there are videos and shit as well. I don't know because I don't follow their
Okay.
fucking Instagram
All right.
stories. It's possible that could be the case. But the problem is that up to this point, I don't think Iman has really lied about anything that I can be aware of. But like Fed has very clearly, deliberately misframed some things. So the credibility right now is like dramatically, disproportionately weighing in favor of Iman versus Fed. So it's possible, but it's a pretty hard sell for me to believe that she's going to try to rope two other friends into a lie like this, especially when oh no, I can't say anything, but I know this is true. I know it. It's true. Fuck. There's no
All right.
way.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fine.
Yeah. This happened. This 1,000,000% happened. I know for a fact that it did. But if they ever like want to fight over that particular thing, if they want to fight over that particular thing, then I guess Fed can try to release information in the future, and then Poki can like counter release if she wants or whatever. But right now, given the information that we have here, if Iman is lying about this, she's literally gotten 2 other people and anybody else that may or may not have been involved roped into this lie as well. And lying with other people involved starts to get incredibly fucking complicated. So.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I would say the only other counter to this situation would be that like Yvonne and Lily knew that things happened every now and then between Fed and Pokey, and you know, so yeah, it's true that they've shared the room, but you know that could have still been an invitation to have them over. What about the next one? So I missed my takeaway from the next situation with the text messages about her talking shit about the other person. My takeaway from the last discussion about that was the problem is that it sounds like she's being possessive. What was the additional information on this one here that makes it sound like that wasn't the case?
Sure, hold on, give me 1 second. Destiny on the simp train. Hey, listen, whatever streamer you're a fucking fan of simps up to fucking offline TV and everybody else way more than I ever fucking will, kid. Okay? Whatever big streamer you follow, go and look at who they fucking beg to get into the Among Us lobbies, beg to get into whatever fucking lobbies, okay? You have no fucking idea who the fuck you're talking to if you think I will simp for anybody on this shit-ass fucking website, okay? I fought with every fucking streamer on here and I will continue to do so, all right? Go be mad. Go, if you're looking for the true simp, you have no need to look any further than the mirror that you put in front of the big streamer you watch, because I guarantee you they simp like a motherfucker for anybody with more than 1,000 concurrent viewers on this fucking site, okay? Fuck off, moron. Okay, sorry, what were you asking? Oh, the Jody thing?
What's the, because like I was here for that segment, but like nothing stood out. It still looked like she was like talking shit about the person bringing her up.
She was talking, so in Fed's original document, wait, do we have a link to the original document? Can somebody link me in chat?
No.
It's deleted? No?
Okay, what do you want?
Fuck.
What?
Okay. I wish I had the original document, but like in the original document, it was pretty, the way that Fed had described this, it was pretty clear from the way that it looked that Iman was basically like being overprotective of Fed, trying to say like, oh, it's cringe, she's talking about you, like I don't like that, basically, is what it looked like.
Okay.
But from this added context, it basically makes it sound like Fed was telling Iman, oh my God, she's like fucking just riding me for clout. She's exploiting the fuck out of me. It's so fucking cringe. This is so shit. And then Iman watches the stream later, and Iman is like, oh my God, like I turned her stream on and in like 2 minutes, she like mentioned your name like 3 times. Holy cringe, right?
Okay, for like clout. Like
yeah, so
that.
now, so
Okay.
that comment looks way fucking different, because now it seems like she's mirroring back what he said earlier about Jody being exploitative of Fed, rather than just being randomly overpossessive about him interacting with other girls, right?
Yeah. No, so I guess if you're right about the first part with the hotel room, that does completely change it. But like,
Yeah.
when,
Wait.
like,
Let me
for
see if
Dan-
I can find.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find these.
Because when Dan's talking about like him making a calculated move here, it just seems like a really, if I had fucked up and I knew people had shit on me, I would not engage. Like, why risk it?
Yeah,
I'll tell you why.
Think so, right?
If someone fucking did this shit to me, like tried to fucking ruin my career, no, don't get me wrong, Fed fucked up. But and then you come back and you go again, we go to fucking war. I'm gonna drop everything I fucking have. I'm gonna throw in some lies that you can't actually prove that are wrong. God damn right I'd fucking do that. You definitely throw that. So what you do is you throw in a bunch of stuff which is 100% true that is like, you know, kind of bad nothing, and then you throw in a fucking lie. That's, you're like, I don't have proof for this, but this fucking happened.
Dan,
Yeah,
nobody thinks like this.
But
Also,
it doesn't-
this is like you're getting into like levels of Machiavellian shit that I don't even do. Nobody thinks like this, Dan. Literally, like I appreciate it, but I'm not gonna be able
Plus
to
it
find
sounds
the
The
original.
problem is you have to do that before your credibility's shot.
Yeah, that too. You can't
No,
do that after.
He still
re-
has.
He has no
enough
credibility,
support.
He
dude. Like
doesn't,
2 or
not
3 of these
after
claims
this,
are just
no.
completely fucking 180'd wrong. Like,
He's just gonna have to come out swinging extra hard. One final stand. Isn't there an anime or something like that? Like,
Dan,
he's getting
this
his-
was the final
he's
stand,
gonna go
Dan.
Super Saiyan. Do Super Saiyan,
no.
whatever. It's Saiyan. Yeah, it's the time. Is that what the kids call it?
No, Fed is now Yamcha. He's just like a token at the point. Like,
True.
This is the tweet that Fed shows. So all Fed shows is Iman messaging Fed saying, Fed, Jody's on stream talking right now about you. It makes me want to, she's drunk but acting way drunker than she actually is and saying shit like, oh my God, you guys. And notice how he cuts out his response to this. So this makes it look like Iman is just shit talking Jody, like being an overpossessive bitch. That's all she looks like in this. But in the overall text, Fed has already been shit talking Jody. And he even responds in the affirmative to Iman's like being mean here, where he's like, ah ha ha, please continue. I love it. Like,
Yep.
this is like way different now, right? The context around this completely changes these messages.
Okay, all I'm saying, so Fed's fucked, is what you're saying.
Hold on,
He's
does
done.
the fact that Fed never wanted it public have any sort of weight to it? So I'm going to speak a little bit on this, but that's just because I've found out through other people, okay, and not from anybody in offline TV. So if they think I'm leaking anything, I'm sorry, I'm not. But what I found out through other people was that Fed has been sharing this document with some of his fucking fans who have been emailing this around to people. That's so somebody else in esports in the industry like contacted me and they were like, yo, dude, do you know who the fuck this guy is? And I've seen emails and messages from like a crazy fucking Fed fan who is like trying. So if Fed is sharing this document with that guy, it makes it like, for instance, could you imagine if I was in my Discord being like, hey guys, what do you think about this giant response I'm writing about how much I actually hate Lily Peachy? Like, of course that doc is going to leak. No fucking shit. Like, I couldn't even be like, oh no, I can't believe it leaked. Oh my God. Right? Like, if I even type one word in my fucking chat, that shit is being posted to LSF. Of course.
But I don't know why anyone would think it wasn't leaked because I guess
No. It's not about whether it was leaked or not. It's about whether it was leaked intentionally. Fed
No,
is
no,
leaking
no, I
this
think it
intentionally.
was.
Oh, well,
No, absolutely.
But Fed claims
Yeah.
that he never wanted it out.
Of course, and you're going to do that. But everyone who has a leak that is intentional for media PR purposes says that,
Well,
right?
no, but Fed's original claim was that like he worked on this with a friend, but then he talked to him on it and they put it all aside, and now they were good. But now he doesn't know how it leaked. But it seems like that wasn't the case.
Well, right, because he had that conversation with her where they said they wouldn't, right? So he can't say, "Oh, oops."
I don't know how is that relevant to anything I'm saying.
Well, because you said he worked on it with Pokey and all that, and he's saying he didn't leak it. I'm saying, of course, he's going to say that because he worked with Pokey, because they had the conversation.
Okay, so I'm
about it.
saying he lied about something. You're saying, of course, he lied. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm saying, of course, he lied. Yeah, but I am also saying, of course, he leaked it. Like, and this is where I'm like, did he really think he was manipulating this and going to get away with it? Because
yeah,
it
that was
seems
his original claim, right?
Yeah.
So to get back to my point, Fed's fucked, right?
Stop, Dan.
Or no. I'm asking. Do you think he still has like a career? Is he going to be fine, et cetera? That, or is he just
Here's
done?
the
He's not
secret
just
to
on
all
Twitch?
of you blossoming people out there. Take it from somebody in the industry that's been up and down through more drama than probably any other streamer in existence right now, because I've been streaming for 11 years through a lot of shit. You can always make it, Dan. All you got to do is turn that stream on. All you got to do is open OBS and click that start streaming button. People only remember your last 3 streams. All right? That's the key.
Yeah.
The only way that you lose is...
invest in some sunglasses and just click start.
Yeah,
streaming.
if I can just stream it, dude. People will forget that shit in a week. People will meme about it. They'll meme on you for a little bit, and then that's it. Like, just fucking click it and move on. Like, yeah.
All right. So last thing, just to clarify our bet here, what are you saying? What am I saying? Because I want to be on the same
I don't
page,
think
'cause
there
you
will
really
be...
tried to weasel out last time, just to be clear.
I don't think there's going to be like a massive,
Define massive.
like a 2-page or more document. Like the waffle guy. I don't want to mention the waffle guy because I don't know if I'll get banned because that guy seems like a golden Twitch child. I don't want to. I'm not. That's actually something I'm scared to call out, so I'm not going to say anything about. I don't know anything that happened with that dude. People talk about that guy. I don't know what happened with that guy, but he's still streaming. But I don't know anything about anything else. Yeah. Alinity, no way. I've had more drama. Alinity, I love you. You seem like an awesome person, but your drama is nothing compared to what I've been through. I know that it seems traumatic, and I'm not trying to gatekeep you, okay? But stop. I'm just saying that if you ever get involved in drama, all you got to do is keep on streaming, and people will forget. All right.
Also, he has a $200 an hour consultation rate for help writing documents for your personal dramas as well.
Oh, sure. If you guys need help.
All right, listen, just to be clear, I'm saying that we haven't seen the last of Fed. He's coming out swinging. He's not done for the count, down for the count. I don't know if there's going to be a 2-page document. he's out for blood. He's not done. So
Okay.
I don't know how we legislate that though.
We'll see.
So how do you feel? Do you feel like Pokey completely 180'd it?
Well, not really 180, but more what was said originally seems to have been true. Well, this is kind of boring because originally the Fed drama was massively a big breaking story because it was a departure from things that we thought to be true. But now it seems like everything that we'd originally thought to be true is probably true. That seems to be the
So
case.
what happened? Did Pokey say that you could get in some like OTV shit if you did this? Whole
Yes,
thing?
I have an exciting announcement. I will be joining. No. I think I would have the largest detriment to people's salaries in the history of esports if I could join that team. I can't imagine how quickly their offers would dry the fuck up. Can you summarize what happened today? I'm late to the stream. Well, Fed leaked a document. A lot of mean things about Pokey. Pokey returned fire and sunk the Battle Fed ship.
No, not sunk yet. See, you're saying that Fed's a bitch. I'm saying he's not done. He has more to offer this world.
I'm saying Fed has.
Hold on, Fed, if you're out there and you're watching this, you don't know me, but listen. Drop some bombs. Fuck it.
Fed
Go
has
for
a 500-pound bomb, and Pokey probably has a nuke. So, like, he can drop that bomb.
Well, what does he care? Then if he's dead right now, fuck it. What do you're already dead, Fed. Fucking go out, take him out.
Okay,
with you.
you're done.
Mutually assured destruction.
Stop.
Okay.
You don't have to kill yourself in the bunker. You can exile yourself and go work as a cook in the back of a kitchen.
Good one. Okay, I think we are. Okay, can I give advice to both of them? Well, the number one advice here was actually something that I talked about completely unrelated, like I think a week or two ago to all of this. You guys, listen, if you're with somebody and they don't feel the same way about you that you feel about them, then it's probably time to not be with that person anymore, because all you're going to do is mind fuck yourself and you're going to wind up in crazy situations where hundreds of thousands of people are watching your drama on the internet. Don't do that, okay? That's my only piece of advice.